To talk to us a little bit about what those guys are doing over there. Hello, Josh. Thank you so much for being here. Tommy, how are you? How was your weekend?
Weekend was fantastic. We had some nice weather. Luckily, the bad weather kind of flew on over us. So, a nice and relaxing weekend out
I
here.
heard you spent your day getting punched in the face.
Yes, I did. And then I went to the gym. It was
So you started out, your wife started to punch you in the face, and then
it's
you
a,
went and worked out.
yeah, it's a normal thing now. She just likes hitting it's a pregnancy twitch. I wake up in the morning and she's like, "You put this belly on me." And bang, she hits me with a quick one.
So
So,
today is the Dirigo show from Bangor, Maine. Tommy, do you know what Dirigo means?
so I did a little bit of research, and from what I understand, it has something to do with the North Star, right?
Oh,
It's has to do with a little bit of it's the symbol of Maine. There's also a moose in there, and
oh, okay. I believe I love the North Star. The North Star. You went deep on this, and of course, the North Star would lead the sailors, right? They would follow the North Star, and I believe it's the Latin for to lead. Dirigo is the
yes,
Latin, and we have some serious leaders on today's show. I would love to take a moment to just address what's going on in the world today and the reason why we're here. We're here today because of we've all been affected by COVID 19. The numbers today, we're looking in the US at 2.5 million cases confirmed and over 125,000 lives lost. So the digital speakeasy really came to being because we wanted to have access to our friends in the restaurant world who were directly impacted by the shutdowns, and our friends in the music world who can't perform live right now. And we started raising money for those folks, which brought us to the World Central Kitchen. The World Central Kitchen is an amazing organization that really is simpatico with what we were trying to do. So we set up a fundraiser, and that fundraiser was brought to our parent company, Edrington Americas. And Edrington Americas has agreed to double match every dollar raised during the fundraiser. So we were very lucky to be introduced to a gentleman by the name of Josh Phelps. Josh is here today to talk to us a little bit more about what the World Central Kitchen is and how we can all get involved. Josh, you're muted. Can you got it. You're a pro. Josh, where are you coming from right now?
I'm out in Oakland, California right now.
And are you there temporarily, or are you there for a while, or?
Myself temporarily, just checking on the team here, but yeah, we've been working here. Gosh, actually, since that second cruise ship got quarantined here back in March, and then as COVID sort of exploded around the U.S., we activated in a lot of cities working with restaurants, and we can get more into that. But yeah, so we have a team here. I'm just checking in. Working with Steph and Aisha Curry from the Warriors and their foundation a little bit. So it's pretty cool. And I have not spent much time in Oakland, but it's actually a pretty amazing place. So not
How
bad.
long have you been with World Central Kitchens? It's inception, because it's not a very old organization. You guys started when the tragedy in Puerto Rico, correct?
Yeah, so it's sort of been a couple of iterations, right? It started in around 2010 after the big earthquake in Haiti, and then it was just sort of constant work in Haiti. Not many employees. There was and still is a culinary school there, but yeah. And then after the hurricane Maria in 2017 in Puerto Rico, just sort of a big pivot to disaster relief, and started to grow. And I actually was a volunteer then, and then later in Guatemala the following year, and then just sort of kept showing up whether wanted or not.
Wow.
So
Now I think what initially sparked my wanting to share our message with you guys was obviously the work you do is amazing, but I think what scared me the most with COVID and this what's going on right now. I mean, obviously, you know, restaurants are a big part of my life. They've always been a big part of my life. And the idea that we were going to lose these mom and pop restaurants through the shutdowns, that they just couldn't make it, and how brilliant the idea was on your guys' part to make use of those spaces, you know, during the shutdown, and use those kitchens and employ their workers and keep them employed and use those kitchens to help feed people in need right now. And how do you guys do that? I mean, what's the first step? I mean, what kind of, you know, during a pandemic, there has to be so many precautions you guys have to take while you're in that environment. I mean, how do you do it?
Yeah, well, first, raise a lot of money.
We're trying.
Yeah, it's exactly. Try to. We're lucky we have a great leader in Jose with a big voice. Yeah, this was different, right? We couldn't just, after a natural disaster, systems are offline. You go in, you maybe build your own kitchen, or you rent a space that's still viable. Bring a bunch of people in, tons of volunteers, and cooking meals to be served in aggregate in large quantities, which just wouldn't be, wouldn't work, wouldn't be safe in something like this. And it's just a completely different animal. Everything has to be individually packaged. Obviously, all the safety concerns with sanitation and masks and gloves, but restaurants are sort of well suited to adapt to that, because if safety is part of their everyday routine, with obviously more additions with the COVID crisis. So, people are, they got their serve safe certifications and everything like that. So restaurants are suited for that. And then we've been dealing with this since the first quarantine ship in Yokohama, Japan, when, everyone thought that the virus was just, in Japan, South Korea, China, a few other places. Little did we know, right?
Mm.
So, and we've learned how to manage the individual packaging of thousands of meals, which the labor is pretty intense, and how to do that with social distancing and, advise restaurants. So we've drawn up some playbooks. We've advised tons of people, even if we're not working with them directly, it's part of our program. And then we have, we set out to, I think we first said, oh, here's what Jose's doing, community kitchens, give people food if they need it, but like, here's a place you can also come get a safely prepared meal. And then we said, well, that's asking a lot of people to just set up these community kitchens. How can we focus our voice and our philanthropic dollars to sort of help where we can, and like you said, keep some of these mom and pops, keep the economic engine running, keep their people employed, keep the folks on the payroll who might not be able to access some of that social safety net that you have as a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So we just devised this plan. We piloted it in D.C. With some friends at a restaurant called Maine to start, and just said, what if we were to offer you $10? It doesn't have to make a meal like your best entree off the menu, but with $10, something basic with a starch, a veg, and a protein, individually packaged in bulk. If we gave you X amount to do, like, would that help? And would you have money, not just to keep people on board, but to have a little bit to keep the lights on and everything like that. So
And the food looks amazing on top of it, you
it's
know?
it's amazing, and everyone gets creative, right? And it's interesting to see, like, restaurants that maybe serve a certain type of cuisine will pivot to making all sorts of things, because they're maybe they're serving 300 meals a day at the senior complex, and people are going to get, even if a 6-day rotation, will get tired of it, and even if it's free. So yeah, it's been awesome, just to see how people adapt. And so we just started this program, and in the markets we're in, and signing people up, keeping it very basic, $10 a meal for the most part, unless it was somewhere where we used catering arms of places, and finding, our job is to find the need, and then pairing that need with the restaurant, and that's what we've done, and up to the tune of 16, 17 million meals since March, it's in some way, shape, or form.
And did I get this right? In the U.S., 2,300 restaurants just in the U.S. are participating in this
It
program?
sounds about right. I mean, it's growing in some places, and in some places we're sort of taking the temperature. I don't know. That might be a bad use of word, but to see as different phases of reopening. Some places are like, and this is awesome when they say, hey, look, this was awesome. Our takeout business is back booming. Our patio's open, or maybe indoor dining is up to 75%. So and they said we wouldn't have made it to this point if we weren't part of this program. And so that's really special to hear,
Mm.
from the places that we've been working with.
So we have probably on this, Zoom and with the Facebook Live and the people that are going to be watching after, a lot of restaurant people, a lot of people with connections in the restaurant world. How can a restaurant get involved with you guys, and how can someone like myself, who just wants to do some work with you, get involved?
Yeah, I mean, usually I'll speak to the second part first. We thrive on having volunteers in our operations, but this one, just for safety issues, we really couldn't launch something like that. It wasn't like where we launched in the one city where the hurricane hit and bring in the volunteers to help package the food, drive the food, whatever number of odd jobs that there are. We did have, if anyone is in and around DC, we did have and still continue to activate the Washington Nationals Park. But even there, we had to focus mostly on contractors from the restaurant industry industry in DC who we were able to pay to come in and help us, which was great. Because the network in DC is so strong. So we're there using their commissary, cooking about 13,000 meals. So that was the one kitchen we spun up. But the volunteer opportunities have been few and far between. We have in New York, actually, in New York and Brooklyn, we're packaging up about 1,300 to 2,000 produce boxes a day at a depot in Bushwick, and we need about 20 volunteers a day. I heard it's super hot over there, right, and humid. So if somebody wants a workout, I can get that information too, because we're always looking for people to go out there, because we've sort of pivoted from all restaurant meals to people want to cook. People haven't had access to farmers markets and fresh produce and fruit. So there's that. The restaurant piece right now, it's interesting. It kind of depends on the market. Like I said, we've been going for about 4 months now. So, they can email me, josh@wck.org. And if we are active in that market, or in a lot of places we have a queue, because, we filled so much need that we have to have a need to place that restaurant with. So it just depends. But I'm happy that people can contact me directly. That's fine.
Tommy, can you put Josh's email in the chat for us so folks can have that? Thank you so much. Josh, can you say that email one more time?
Just josh@wck.org.
Thank you so much for your time today, Josh. Everyone, take a look into the chat for a way to directly reach out to Josh if you would like to volunteer with the World Central Kitchen, as well as following the Digital Speakeasy tree link to our fundraiser, where our parent company, Edrington, will be double matching every dollar raised. So let's keep this incredible organization afloat. I can't think of someone who, an organization that I would like to be a part of more right now. So thank you so much. And let's stay in touch, Josh. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Thank you.
So everybody, after that, I think I need a cocktail. Miss Kathryn Mickool. Kathryn. Lucas Richman, Maestro. This is very serious business that we're moving on to right now, so I played some very serious music. Kathryn, you are a bartender up in Bangor, Maine, and you are going to take a moment to teach a true leader of men and women, Lucas Richman, how to make a famous grouse cocktail. Let's see it.
All right. So, Lucas, earlier you asked how to set up your bar. The way that I like to set it up is I have my ingredients left to right in order of use. So the first ingredient usually the most volume ingredient I have on the left, and then to its right, the following ingredients. So you'll start with your grouse, famous grouse.
Lucas, have you ever made a drink before?
Well, I make my own kind of drink, but I've never been nothing sophisticated.
So you make moonshine up there in Bangor.
Well, actually, when I was working with the Knoxville Symphony, people on the board had been in the moonshine business.
Of course.
And they told me these incredible stories about running moonshine. It was just amazing in the backwoods of Tennessee. But that's a whole other story.
Oh my God.
So usually the drinks that I mix don't have more than 3 ingredients.
And Katie made something very special for you. Katie, what's next?
So take your shakers, Lucas. You'll want to put ice right in.
This?
Yeah.
That would be this? See, my brother-in-law makes the martinis. I don't make them.
At home, I use a mason jar.
Just how much ice?
I would fill it about 1/2 to 3/4 full.
Okay. My dog's gonna go crazy because he loves chewing ice, and he hears the ice.
I love it. It looks like that famous grouse bottle's talking. Katie, I can't see your bar. All I see is your face. Can you move your camera down just a touch if it's easy? If it's not easy, don't bother.
It is actually incredibly precariously perched on.
No, you're good. You're good. Awesome. All right, so we've got ice in the cocktail shaker. Go ahead.
Just grab your famous grouse. I'm making this at the same time as you.
Oh, okay.
So 1.5 ounces of famous grouse right on top of your.
All right, so Bob told me earlier.
Which one is the ounce? The top one or the bottom one?
So the larger of your jigger sides has a little line.
Yes.
Just below the top. That's actually 1.5 ounces, and the top is 2 ounces. So go
All right. So 1.5 ounces will be to the line.
Yeah, and if you have a little too much, that's fine. The piano's going to be really interesting tonight.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm pouring it in the shaker.
Right into your shaker. Yep.
Oh. No messes so far. Okay.
All right, Katie.
Then take your honey liqueur.
Oh, that's what that is. It's a honey
So
liqueur.
in this case, we're using
The Baron-Jager.
Baron-Jager. Okay.
So 1/2 ounce.
Okay.
Middle line on the smaller
The middle
side.
line on the small one, right?
You got it.
Okay. There might be a little extra, but that's okay.
That'll be
Good.
More delicious.
Then,
1/2 ounce of your lemon juice.
what is it? Lime juice?
Lemon.
Lemon juice? A little lemon juice?
Oh, we didn't prepare the lemon juice.
All right. Well, you prepare, and Katie, you move on.
So
I have.
on top of the lemon juice, I'm going to add 3 dashes of Allen Wales smoke bitters.
Nice.
3, just like boom, boom, boom.
And if you have a little
Yes. Boom. One more. 2 more booms.
No,
Boom.
nothing came out.
Yeah, a little bit came out. Boom. Boom,
That's-
boom, boom.
I don't believe it. Oh, there it is.
Now you've got 4. That's too many. That's too many, Lucas.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
All right, Kathryn. And then what?
All right, so you're ready to put your top on your shaker.
Top on.
Oh, okay. So there's club soda here, but that's not for now.
We're going to
Nope,
top
because we
it.
don't-
I don't have the lemon here, so I'm just pretending at this point.
Well, you could cut it if you want to.
I mean, I can do it real quick.
All right, don't cut off your fingers. I need those fingers.
So how
There you
much-
go. Now
how much
just
lemon-
squeeze
how
the
much
whole
lemon
thing
juice?
in there.
How much lemon juice are we putting in?
How many conductors does it take to make a cocktail? That's going to be the Tommy. Do you know?
I've found that a real juicy lemon usually produces about 1 ounce. So maybe go with just half of it.
Okay.
Half
Okay.
a. There you
I've
go.
seen huge lemons produce less than 1/4 ounce as well. So it depends on the lemon. And the juicer.
Now, Katie, are we about to shake it up?
Okay, so I'm going to pour this in, and
Beautiful.
okay, and we go like this. And put this on because otherwise we'll have a disaster, right?
Yes.
Preview of
Okay.
the
Shake it up. Nicely done, Lucas.
Is that okay?
There you go.
It wasn't very rhythmic though.
Looks like you're about to fly away.
Okay.
All right, now you're good to just go ahead and pour your cocktail into your filling glass.
Pour
Now,
it right
I
in.
understand that I should be straining it. Is that possible?
And or if you like to use the ice that you shook with, you're welcome to do that too.
No, I mean because of the seat.
Yeah, just pour it right through. Yeah, that'll be great. Beautiful. I love that sound. It reminds me of days gone by. Is there a garnish, Katie?
There will be.
All right, let's see it.
All right,
Don't
so
cut yourself.
I do want to use some of the ice from the drink, right? Is that right, or just new ice?
You'll want ice in there, whether it's what you shook with or new ice. Grab new ice since you had.
Okay. And now it's going to stick to my hand. Okay, here we go. There we go. Oh, stunning.
You're hired.
Yeah. All right, so Lucas, go ahead and crack open your Fever Tree. Yep. And pour it until it hits about the top, just a little lower than the top. Okay, so now take the top off of your shaker, which allows the club soda to blend in with the cocktail without losing any of the
Wait,
carbonation.
save it again?
So we're going to do a technique called rolling, which makes it so that the carbonation of the soda isn't lost when we stir it together. So take your shaker,
Yeah.
cocktail into it gently.
I'm pouring it all back into the shaker.
Gently.
The ice and the lemon.
Yes,
Did I get
gently.
rid of this or no? No.
Yeah, get rid of what was in it.
Yeah, dump that.
Okay.
The suspense is killing me. There you
Okay.
go.
And now I'm going to shake it again?
No.
Oh,
So this makes it so that the cocktail blends in with the club soda without it losing any carbonation, so you still get the bubbles.
uh-huh.
So take your shaker,
Yeah.
pour it back into the glass with the glass at a little bit of an angle so that it doesn't.
There you go. And the garnish.
Garnish. So I'm gonna give Lucas a little bit of a challenge on this one. So Lucas, grab your lemon.
Yeah.
You have a lemon and your peeler,
Yes.
and you're gonna peel a little bit of the off of the lemon. Down pretty
Okay.
hard.
Am I doing like just one full swoop of the?
Yes, just do the best you can.
You know, I'm about to play the piano, so if
Don't cut yourself. We can't wait to hear you play the piano. Please don't cut yourself.
okay.
And Katie, is that it? Are we ready to drink?
We're about ready to drink. I'm gonna show.
So is it just one strip, Katie, or
One strip.
Yeah, that's good.
and-
And, then
and
roll
like-
a little tube like this.
okay?
Gorgeous.
We had a little lemon rose.
Okay.
Pop it right down on top of your drink, or I have a skewer that I'm going to use to prop it. Up on
Gorgeous. And everybody, let's give Katie Mickool a round of applause for making that
Here, here,
incredible
here.
cocktail with Lucas Richman. Here's to all of us. If you're drinking at home, let's have a drink. If you would like to leave Katie a tip for that drink, go ahead and I will put her Venmo there in the chat, and you could send Katie a tip while Lucas is readjusting so he can make his way over to his piano
my
with his cocktail.
It's very refreshing, by the way. I'm sorry to ruin your segue, but I have to say, it's a really nice drink.
What's a better segue than that? Katie, how are you doing during this incredibly weird time? You're a bartender. That's how you make most of your money. And while you're, I know that you are a power lifter. Tommy, did you hear that? The lady's a power lifter, so don't mess around with her. That's who you want behind the bar. You want a lovely young lady who's also a power lifter. In case anything, goes down in the bar, you need a little extra help.
Especially
And
if a keg goes out.
and also, I know you're studying to be a nurse, and you've got some. You're very active in the Black Lives Matter movement up there in Maine. So, what brought you to Maine? Are you from there?
I'm not. My mom is from Maine originally, and we moved about 12 years ago to be closer to her family. And this is, I lived all over the place before Maine, but this is definitely what I
And
do.
you landed there. You're going to stay there, and you're studying to be a nurse. Why would you want to be a nurse during a pandemic? It's incredible.
So that actually kind of ties hand in hand with my involvement in the Black Lives Matter movement. There's quite a bit of study that shows that people of color have difficulty. I'm actually going into nurse midwifery specifically. So the United States has a lot of work to do in making delivery safer and with a lower mortality rate, weirdly enough. So that is part of my interest in that and wanting to make it better.
And you're going to bartend through school until you can set it free. And you're doing lots of marches right now, and you're very active in that organization. I would love to come up to Bangor before you leave the bar. How much more time do you have behind the bar before you go full time with the nursing?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever fully give it up. I mean, I'm sure my schedule will insist that I do, but years. I have at least 2 more years of.
Oh, wow. And what today? I offered you guys the opportunity to make any cocktail you wanted. Basically, what brought you to Famous Grouse?
So we love Famous Grouse because it is really versatile. The flavors allow it to come through enough without totally taking over. It makes a really nice blended cocktail.
I can't thank you enough. We're going to check back in with you in a little while. Thank you, everybody. Let's give it up for the coolest name in the world, Katie Mickool. Thank you, Katie. All right. I am a very, 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 very adamant lover of music. I grew up, this is not me playing, I grew up in a musical home, and I like to quote Henry Rollins when he said, you know what? Music is the coolest thing human beings do. Today, I am very honored to have as our special guest star, Mr. Lucas Richman. Lucas, I think you're taking yourself off mute now. Lucas is the conductor at the Bangor Symphony Orchestra. He's also a Grammy Award-winning conductor who has conducted films, the scores in films like As Good as It Gets, Seven, one of my all-time favorite movies, Face Off, among many, many more. And we're going to chat with Lucas in a little while about the wonderful world of being a conductor. But Lucas, before you play, I just wanted to ask you, how has the shutdown affected the live music world? And, what are you guys doing to adjust during this incredibly odd time?
It's very difficult, to be honest. What we do is it's music with large ensembles for large audiences, and that is the antithesis of what is safe right now. The fact is that music is, ironically, it's what people need in their lives. They need the arts right now, and the music and the arts will probably be one of the last things that actually come back full force when we get through this. So I know my colleagues instrumentalists and conductors and singers and dancers, actors and actresses. They're all kind of bereft and in a difficult place because we cannot do our craft, and we have so much to give that we want to give.
You know, so many people think of music as, you know, a thing they have in their, you know, phones, you know, that they throw on, you know, when they're driving or something like that. And of course, having that around me is, I mean, my entire life is a soundtrack. My kids' entire life, I'm always more and more and more music. But there's nothing like seeing live music. And I remember first time I saw, not the first time, but I was in college. I was in Birmingham, England, and I went to the Birmingham Symphony, and we happened to have seats, you know, above the string section, and I saw the bows all moving like this powerful dance, and all of a sudden I realized this needs to be seen live. It's, you know, when it's right and it's inspirational. You know, it's one thing to hear it. It's one thing to, you know, sort of snooze away with some over intellectual telling you what it is. And it's another thing to just experience it for yourself live in that room and hearing the sounds. And I know right now that's, you know, something that you guys can't do. But what you can do, you know, you're constantly creating, you're constantly making music and sharing it with the world. I hope that, you know, we get to, when this is all over, we could come back, that live music will be bigger than ever because we've been deprived of it for so long.
Absolutely. If anything, being in this kind of isolation and not having the access to live music has perhaps made it that much more of a commodity that people appreciate and understand and know. So I totally agree.
So we're going to chat with you a little bit more in a few moments, but I would love, you know, that Grammy that, you know, there is, I hope it's not playing the music, but I would love to hear you play a little bit for us now if you can, Maestro.
Absolutely. And what I'll just, as a preface, you earlier played Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and similar to preparing a great meal, you know, you have incredible ingredients, and the great composers know how to take the smallest of ingredients and stitch them together in incredible fabrics and melodies and symphonies. And Beethoven, in fact, with that just four notes, three G's and an E flat, stitched together one of the most extraordinary fabrics of music, and you know, it's a great drink. So one of the composers that I've been so fortunate to work with over the years, I've known him because of his association with the Young Musicians Foundation in Los Angeles, which was one of the first places where I got my start as a conductor. John Williams knows classical music inside and out, and it has informed his own composition in such a way. So many of his pieces are built on little fragments. You know, this one, just two notes, right? Right? Well, his theme for The Accidental Tourist takes these notes and turns it into one of the most beautiful pieces ever written for piano and orchestra.
Bravo. Thank you so much. That was
Absolutely.
incredible. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Sir, we are going to check back in with you in a little while. And thank you again for that beautiful, beautiful music. All right. Bob Cutler, the mayor of Bangor, passing that child to someone. Stage left. Not quite sure who.
That's the beautiful Annie, my wife. She gets she's had Jack all day today while I've been running around. She gets the most amazing wife of the day award for sure.
Bob, I feel like you never stop running. I feel like you're just one of those guys.
I like to work and I love what I do and I love the team I work with. So it's a great position to be in. But I also enjoy my time with Annie and Jack.
And you are the mayor of Bangor, Maine,
no,
right?
Oh my God. I don't think I can get elected to dog catcher. But
I don't know because when I was contacted, or connected with you a few weeks ago, you quickly just rattled off a list of people that, that could be involved in all the work you do. And I'm just every single day blown away by you. I think you are someone who's inspirational and everyone should go up to Bangor. And now you own a restaurant up there that's farm to table. You guys have your wife laughing because
yeah.
And you guys have your own greenhouse. You have an incredible cocktail program. What are you guys doing during this time you make all your own veggies and everything in the restaurant, right?
And it's nice. I have a couple members of my team on the call right now. Dustin just showed the greenhouse out of his front window. We have a 1,500 square foot greenhouse. We're seed to table about 90% of our vegetables for about 9 months out of the year. We sell our excess greens, so locally owned grocery stores in town. We like to say we know the name of our farmers, and that would be either our fishermen or the actual people who grow our potatoes and everything else. We like to know their name, and that's kind of like how we connect with it.
And how did you start in this line of work to begin with? I mean, you were a baseball player in college or something, weren't you?
And then a coach. I honestly thought that when I was coaching at Maine as the director of baseball operations in 2012, I thought if I opened a restaurant, it would be a great use of my downtime, which would be about 15 weeks a year. And then I could just hire someone else to manage it and just kind of reap all this money and everything else. And it doesn't work that way. I don't know how Don Shula did it with his restaurants, but I couldn't figure it out.
And is this the first restaurant you've owned?
The second.
Okay.
I had a super awesome hot dog joint in Orono, which is just north of Bangor, right off the college campus. That was killer. It was so much fun and learned a lot. But what
a good learning for now. You work in high cuisine now, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. You know what? And I would say more translates from coaching to owning a restaurant than owning a quick service to owning fine dining.
Mm-hmm.
Because coaching is about building a team and then putting your team in the right position to win that game. And I have the most amazing team. We're food driven. The cocktails are designed to complement what Dustin does in the kitchen. Katie and Courtney behind the bar and on the floor are amazing. I feel comfortable doing 120 covers on New Year's Eve in a 38-seat restaurant with those two, without a doubt, no problem. And
Now, I'm not allowed to, for legal reasons, mention what restaurant that is, but can you give yourself a plug?
yeah, it's Novio's Bistro in Bangor, Maine. Novio apostrophe.
And how far is that? Like, if you're in New York or Boston, how far is Bangor from there?
Boston is about 4.5 hours.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
So
and
New
it's
York,
great. Like,
another
a lot
couple
of
hours.
people go by on their way to Mount Desert Island, Bar Harbor. You have to drive through Bangor to get there. But this community is absolutely amazing, and I'm really, really proud to be a small part of it.
You know, over the weekend, you sent me some pictures of you cooking lobster on the grill. And, you know, Connecticut is a lobster state as well. And, of course, you know, very often on this show, we talk about who has the best pizza. But I'm going to have to say, you know, you guys have the better lobster, but we have the better lobster roll. You just have to admit that the Connecticut style is the better style of lobster roll.
I think it's, yeah, I don't want to get into like having you admit that you're wrong on your own show. I don't want to go there.
Never happened.
But
Never happened.
We have some great lobster rolls, and we have some amazing chefs and that will put their own twist on it. You know, Dustin does a great one with pesto that he grows the basil in the greenhouse. That's absolutely phenomenal. You know, and it's you can't beat it when it comes right out of the water and you're getting it that day or the next day. It's phenomenal.
And it's literally, I hate to like just, you know, get down to talking about lobster on the main show because it's just so stereotypical,
Right.
but you know, it literally is the best lobster in the world. I mean, it's like all over the world they talk about Maine lobster. It's the best thing.
More gets exported than we consume in the United States, and that tells you everything you need.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. And you had some folks that you wanted to do a little shout out to who might be on the call.
Yeah, I saw a couple seconds ago. I saw Coach Durba, the head coach for Maine baseball. Nick Charlton, I just saw right there. Nick, if you want to give a quick wave. Nick is the youngest Division I football coach in the country.
Wow.
Super proud to have him at Maine. But and the two cocktails that Courtney are making today, one is called the Derbs for Nick Durba, doing the Charlton. They will be on our menu throughout the summer, and we're going to be giving $1 per drink that we sell back to the World Central Kitchen.
Ah, you're the best.
Yeah. And if I could just say hi to Caroline Bixson family, she has an amazing cocktail book that's Shakespeare Shaken, Not Stirred. It's what drinks Shakespeare characters would want to enjoy, and she is phenomenal.
Oh my God, I need this book. You're kidding me.
It's amazing. Buy it at your local bookstore. It's phenomenal. I have it in my it sits in between Codex and Death and Co. So.
Well, my son's middle name is Dane after Hamlet, so I need to get that cocktail book, find out what Hamlet might be drinking.
Yeah, she just dropped it into the chat there, the name of it. I got it wrong. It's Shakespeare Not Stirred.
Thank you so much, sir. It is always a pleasure to talk to the mayor of Bangor, Maine, the mastermind behind this entire show. He brought everybody together. Thank you so much. And now, I'd like to play a little game with all of you at home. I have a Grammy Award-winning composer and conductor on the show today, and, you know, I thought, what can I do with him? What would be the best use of his talents? And the best idea I had was, let's play a little Name That Tune with Lucas Richman. And, you know, some of you might remember how to play Name That Tune. We're going to start off with Tommy is going to take the first tune and see what he can do with it, and maybe the second one. And then we're going to open it up to the entire chat, anyone who is watching via Zoom on the chat. I happen to have here a bottle of famous Brooklyn. This is my personal All Sorts bottle that I've had for many, many years. An All Sorts bottle is when you have a bottle that gets too low, you pour it in the All Sorts, and your blend is constantly changing. So I've been using this for a long time. And on top of this, you might see it here, I have a Famous Grouse pourer. So later on, in a few moments, we'll play Name That Tune with Lucas. And if you guys can name the tune Lucas plays after Tommy plays, I will send you this. The first person to name the tune correctly will win. Not the bottle. That's going to be buried with me. But this one, the topper. So, guys, Lucas, Tommy, take it away. Lucas, I'd love to hear your first tune. You mentioned earlier that you were selected to conduct the Star Wars live symphony for a while.
Star Wars in Concert Tour. It was an 11-week tour with an 82-piece touring orchestra. We did music from, at the time, the first 6 films. 7, 8, 9 had not yet come out, and it was an extraordinary experience. The remarkable thing is that the music from Star Wars is kind of like the soundtrack to our lives.
Yeah.
And it's the original album is one of the best-selling albums ever in history, and it's instrumental music. That's what is just so brilliant.
We play that original album. I have it on vinyl in my house often, and it's my son's he's 5 years old, his most requested vinyl to play. And that music helped me appreciate classical music, so it's such a great gateway to a larger world of classical music. But, you happen to have on our show some Star Wars geeks, Tommy being among the top Star Wars geeks I know. So I think the first tune, let's try to stump Tommy with that first deep cut Star Wars tune. Let's hear it.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, I see Tommy's gears going. He's starting to feel the tingles on his arms. His hairs are standing up. Tommy, what do you think it might be?
I don't know the song exactly, but I think it's from Phantom Menace.
Woo! Phantom Menace. Lucas, was he in the ballpark? Oh! That is Padme's theme, Tommy. You failed your nerd test.
This is not Padme's theme.
Oh, I failed the nerd test too. Go ahead.
2 for 2.
Lucas, what is it?
This is Rey's theme.
A Rey's theme. He threw a switcheroo on us. That's it. I see her running across the desert now. And Lucas, did you have one more Star Wars for Tommy?
Yes,
Tommy.
You might know this one.
Play it loud.
That's from Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? I'll take the Imperial March all day, Lucas.
I'll tell you that I've conducted in concert the original Star Wars film, and people would leave the event saying, "But we didn't hear Darth Vader's theme." That's because it comes in which film?
Empire
Strikes Back.
Yep.
It comes in episode 5. So that's actually where that's introduced.
Impressive.
Imperial March is fantastic, though.
Most impressive. So now we're going to open it up to the entire audience. Lucas has one melody that he's going to put out there for your chance to win a Famous Grouse bottle stopper. If you are the very first person to answer correctly, go ahead and DM me on Instagram at Jeremy Edrington and let me know that you won, and I will send it right to your house. So, Lucas, let's hear it.
This composer is celebrating a very, very big 250th anniversary.
Elizabeth Sutherland, the very first person to get it correctly. Elizabeth, you win a Famous Grouse bottle stopper. You are the most cultured person in the room. Very nicely done. DM me at Edrington, Jeremy Edrington on Instagram or at the Digital Speakeasy. Let me know that you were the first winner, and I will put that in the mail and send it to you. Thank you guys so much for playing. Lucas, don't go far. We have a show today that's about leadership. And I can't think of someone who embodies leadership more than a conductor of a symphony. And you started doing that at a very young age. When I was a kid, I'd watch a cartoon and Bugs Bunny would get up and he'd conduct. And then I put a milk crate out in the middle of my living room and I grabbed a pencil and I would conduct. And I would do it feverishly, just like the Bugs did it. And I always wondered, really in the back of my mind, I have an idea of what you guys do. What do you really do? How do you do it? Where does it start?
Conducting is, first of all, it's not the guy who's on the train. I'll just put that to rest. The conductor is the person that, it's actually the most bizarre profession in the world, because here is somebody who stands on the podium and is in charge of hours and hours of music and leading hundreds of musicians through incredible masterpieces and never makes a sound. It's very, very strange. The conductor should come to rehearsal and come to performance with an understanding of what piece we're about to do, the history of it, and the inner workings of what makes this hold together as a piece. And then it's through a series of very unusual gestures that people respond to inherently. It's remarkable. I teach a conducting class. I've taught for 22 years with film and TV composers through BMI in Los Angeles. I've taught over 170 of the working TV and film composers conducting. And one of the things that I talk about is that the conducting really starts with the breath, and the breath coming from the core. You cannot, what happens, Jeremy, what happens if you don't breathe?
You die.
You die. And the music dies. You have to breathe. So with the breath, we start the music, and everything revolves around this core, breathing into the music. And then suddenly there's life. Now, there is definitely a technique involved, and some conductors are more involved in being exacting with technique, and some are a little more amorphous and do kind of interpretive dances. The thing is that the musicians want to have somebody who basically gives some guidance and then lets them do what they do so well. And that's the key. And that's with any leadership position. It's not just with an orchestra, but it's with a corporation. It's with the government. The idea is that you work with the best people, you bring them together, and you say, this is what I bring to the table, and I trust and I believe what it is that you have to do. And so what I do on the podium is actually 20% music and 80% diplomacy.
And everyone looks to you, as that focal point. And just trying to wrap my brain around managing. What's the largest symphony that you've conducted?
Well, at any time when we're doing a very large work, say a Mahler symphony, we might have, you'll have an orchestra of 100 some odd people and then a chorus of another 200 people. So, you might have, and then we've done the holiday shows where you've got another a dance troupe and a children's choir. So you could be working with 300, 400 people on stage at one time.
And you won a Grammy for your work on Calling All Dawns, which
Yes.
I listened to all day today while I was putting everything together. And you've done some really beautiful work that you could find on Instagram. I'm sorry, on Spotify and other streaming services for lullaby music, which Tommy's going to need real soon because he's got a baby coming. Um,
It's an
everything
album
you
called Day is Done with members of the Pittsburgh Symphony.
and everything you do, it has a very cinematographic feeling to it. I mean, you definitely take people on a big journey with your music. um the other day I was reading in the New York Times, Bob Dylan did an interview about his new album, and he mentioned that a movie like Indiana Jones wouldn't have been a very good movie without the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
And for Bob Dylan just to throw that in that interview just cracked me up. Maybe he's looking at it from a different point of view. But I think people take for granted how important music is to so many parts of their lives, but definitely, every movie to me, you don't even necessarily think about it, but it's working its magic on you while you're seeing these visuals all the time. And you have been a part of some of the best movies to come out of the US in a very, very long time. When you're conducting a symphony for film, how active are you with the film itself, or is the music brought to you and you look at it the same way that you would another piece of music?
Each composer has a different way that they go about setting their music in sync with the film. My first major film was the movie Seven that you mentioned, and at the time Howard Shore New Line was still editing the film, so Howard was still writing the music. So normally he conducts his own film scores. This is the first time that he was still writing, so he couldn't be at the recording session. So I was brought in to record. And he had written a score that, in fact, did not have a lot of synchronization. So it was a very unusual kind of thing where I said, do you want me to try to match the music? And he said, no, just go. And it was fascinating because it felt like I was actually collaborating with the film, a very unusual circumstance. When I worked on the movie The Village, M. Night Shyamalan's beautiful film with a great Academy Award nominated score by James Newton Howard, Hilary Hahn played the violin solo. And it was my job to give her the soloistic freedom. So, as someone who can work with world-class soloists, give her the soloistic freedom to play what she wanted, but also bring her in time when we needed to be in sync absolutely with the film. So it's always a delicate kind of negotiation depending on what the film is.
Tommy, you had a question for Lucas.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. And like Jeremy, I'm a huge movie buff. It's not just Star Wars. And there's so many things. Like you hear the Godfather theme, you hear obviously anything from Star Wars, you hear Casablanca. There's so many songs that just remind you of these classical movies. But one of my favorites, and I think it just doesn't go with the flow of the movie, is Raging Bull. And you have this character who's just an absolute animal, and he's a lunatic. He's extremely violent. And you have the song Intermezzo. I just know it as Intermezzo by Pietro.
It's the Intermezzo from Cavalleria Rusticana.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
By Mascagni. And everybody say it together.
I wanted to know, like, why that, like, how that song matches to Raging Bull, and it's iconic and it's awesome and I love it. I love in The Sopranos when Tony is with the other guy and it comes on, they start throwing punches at each other. But how does that song match up, and why does it match up so perfectly?
So when a director and a composer are meeting for the first time after all the footage has been shot, music is done post-production generally after the film has been shot. They start editing it together. So the composer and the director look at the film and they say, this is the place where we're going to find music. This is the place where we're going to have it quiet. So they're spotting the film, finding the spots for the music. Then the composer also has to decide, am I playing to the scene or am I playing against the scene? If you play to the scene all the time, it becomes kind of like a Mickey Mouse cartoon. You're playing every single moment like the character will look this way, so now I'm going to make the music go zing, or they shut the door, so I'm going to go boom. That becomes a cartoonish kind of thing. In Raging Bull, what they did is they absolutely went the opposite. If they did a rocky kind of score, it would have had a very, very different effect. But by using the Mascagni, it emphasized the ugliness of this character because of the beautiful music, and it just becomes a whole other artistic vision that you would never have had if you played to the scene.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Lucas. We're going to come back to you in just a few moments with another song. In the meantime, Katie, how are you, dear? Katie, you got another cocktail in you?
Ew.
I would love to try it. What are you making for us this time?
This one is called Doing the Charlton, after Nick Charlton, who is in our midst today. So I'm going to go over the ingredients real quick because we've modified a few things. We took famous grouse and we infused it with poblano peppers and parsley. About a week.
Yum.
Picked up those yummy flavors. I've got that here. We're doing lemon juice, pineapple juice, that same sea smoke bitter, and then we have what I'm probably just gonna start eating with a spoon because a mango cream that will pureed mango mixed with heavy cream, sugar, cinnamon, and cardamom, and it's like unreal delicious.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Go with doing 1.5 of the infused famous grouse. Lemon juice. 1/2 ounce of pineapple juice. And then our mango cream is a little thicker than is pourable, so I'm just going to take a few bar spoons, the equivalent of 1/2 ounce, right into my shaker. 3 dashes of smoked bitters.
Not too many, Katie.
Boom, boom, boom.
Which is pretty delicious. And we're gonna give it a shake.
I missed that sound.
Me too, actually. All right, so then I have this adorable little tiki glass. This is
Gorgeous.
my has a little bum.
I wish I did.
Nothing.
Lovely, everybody. Let's hear it for Miss Katie Mickool, the coolest bartender that I know. And feel free to please send her a tip via Venmo at Kathryn-Mickool. Go ahead and see her Venmo in the chat if you would like to leave her a little thank you for those incredibly yummy cocktails that she made for us today. Lucas, Maestro, you got one more song in you, sir?
Absolutely.
I would love to hear it.
Some of the music that we've played with the orchestra, you hear 2 notes and it just touches you. And one of those pieces, if you haven't heard this, I mean, you have heard it, but you may not recognize the name. From Elgar, music by Elgar, his Nimrod variations. There's one particular variation which is just so moving. It's absolutely extraordinary. And I fashioned a piece that I wrote with that in mind. So actually, this is my reflection on a piece of Elgar.
Maestro, thank you so much. That was absolutely beautiful. You are beautiful, everyone. I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us today at the Digital Speakeasy. Mr. Bob Cutler, Miss Katie Mickool, Maestro Lucas Richman, Tommy Moriello, and Josh Phelps from the World Central Kitchen. Hey guys, make sure to give to our fundraiser at the World Central Kitchen at the Digital Speakeasy. You can find a link to that. You can find a link right here in the chat where we'll be double matching every dollar raised. Follow the Digital Speakeasy on YouTube. Tune in tomorrow at 5 o'clock for more interesting chat from around the world. Thank you guys so much for coming. It means the world to me. Safe. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.